Well, good evening and welcome to Rangers Radio. Join myself, Foxchair, on the show is Juicy Bear and the legend that is Bridgeman. Evening, Juicy.
Good evening. Thank you for having me on.
Evening, Bridge.
Can I have a good evening to you and your team as well? Can I just say to all the Rangers fans all over the world, and particularly Rangers fans on here on Rangers Radio, every single one is, listen, good evening and welcome to Rangers Radio.
All right, one more sleep, Bridge.
One more sleep, pal, and maybe a wee nap in the morning.
Oh, you're not getting a nap, have you?
It's possible. Anything's possible.
Not getting a nap. You might get a wee siesta after the game, know what I mean?
That's true.
You know.
Looking forward to it, but I'll tell you that, I'm looking forward to it.
Aye. What's your thoughts, Juicy? How are you feeling about it?
Well, it's we've had a long summer of doing not too much and then pre-season matches, and now finally the big one is here tomorrow. It's going to be very exciting. But of course, we've got a big game on Tuesday as well. So hopefully the manager just puts the appropriate team out to do the business. I'm sure it won't be a weak side. We want a strong side tomorrow. Just get through it, get a good win, move on to Tuesday. Just business tomorrow. Doesn't need to be elaborate. Just get the job done.
League games are about 3 points, Bridgeman. Nobody wants boring 1-0 wins, but want a bit of panache, Bridge, a bit of panache.
We would like to play like that, absolutely, 100%. But I'm afraid that I'll be quite happy with a victory. The size of the victory would be anything in your imagination. I don't want to be too greedy, so I'll go for a 1-0. But I do want a 5 or a 6 or a 7. I don't think we're going to get that. I think we're going to get played in a very defensive manner against us. So I think some of our young players that were brought in, if we're going to play them tomorrow, they need to watch out. But just above the grass tackles, watch out for that.
All right, we're going to hear from the manager, but is that all right with you, Juicy?
Yes, all good, mate. All good.
Yeah, we might get a hint what the team's going to be and see what we can build up or what we think it's going to be. But man, did you hear that Alex Kelly last night try to be funny? Ridvan, he's calling him the postman. Yeah?
The postman?
I was sitting today doing a crossword and it came up, overworked postman on the crossword, and I couldn't get it.
How many letters was it?
Millions of letters.
Very good. Very good.
Right, okay, let's hear from our manager, Giovanni Van Bronckhorst.
Hey, afternoon, Gio. Could we have an update on the fitness in the squad going into the opening fixtures, particularly Rabbi Natundo, Alex Lowry and Kemar Riff, please?
Yeah, we have, Kamara is still out, so he will not be in the squad tomorrow, obviously. We have Alex, he's fit to train. He's training with the B team at the moment to get fitness, also some game time. Robbie had his first individual session today. He looks good. For tomorrow, a little bit short of time, so he will be joining the group on Sunday to prepare for Tuesday's game. So he will be not in the squad.
Okay, and just with that in mind, when will Ridvan Yilmaz join up with the group?
Ridvan is traveling tomorrow towards Glasgow. He is cleared to play. He's been had an almost pre-season with Besiktas, so he will join the group on Sunday as well.
Thank you.
Derek, please. Derek Clark. Thank you. Hi, Gio. Is there any update on Phil Hollander, and is there any timescales on the likes of Kamara and Philip to rejoin the squad? They've been out for some time now.
Yeah, there's no, I don't have any time frame when they will be back. So once I know, it's I will communicate. But so far, it's not. I think Kamara will be quicker. He's on the pitch now, Kamar. So hopefully he will join the sessions as well in the next coming weeks. And Philip, we still have to assess the coming weeks how he will develop.
David Tanner, please.
Hi, Giovanni. With the changes that you've made, do you feel that this team now is your team and one that plays in your style, your players, as opposed to the group you inherited from Steven Gerrard in the middle of last season?
No, it's always been my team. I mean, once you are the manager of Rangers, it's your team. So every player I had when I came in November, it was my team because I was responsible. Of course, we had some windows to get players in, but each and every player who I had in the squad and have in the squad now are my players.
Kenny McIntyre from BBC, please.
Giovanni, how would you compare the squad you have for the start of this season to the squad you finished last season with? Is it stronger? Does it give you more options?
Well, we have. I think we have a strong squad. You see the level on training, the competition we have for all places is really high, and that's what you want when you play for a team like Rangers. So I'm happy with the competition we have now and the quality in depth. So yeah, I'm happy with the squad we have at the moment.
Mark Langlow, please.
Gio, you took over the squad and obviously guided them in Europe this year, but over the last 4 seasons, Rangers have had a really tremendous set of results, both in case of the number of games and the quality of opposition. Does that give an extra dimension to this season, the level of expectation amongst the fans for the European adventures?
Well, the expectation is always high. Obviously, when you are doing really well in the last 4 years, always involved in Europe after the break. Obviously, reaching the final last year is a huge achievement, so that will bring expectations as well. But it's a new campaign, new season. Every game in Europe is quite hard, so we just have to make sure we are ready for every game we play. And the month of August is very important because we have the possibility to qualify for the group stages of the Champions League. So we have to take it step by step, as we've done really well last year, but also the previous season. So it's a new challenge, a new season, and we have to be ready again and make sure we are well prepared for each game we play in Europe and, of course, domestically as well.
Gabriel, please.
Actually, you're just talking about European football there, but how big is the domestic challenge, the league challenge you have on your hands to wrestle the title back from Celtic this season?
Well, I mean, that's. I think that's the most important competition we're in. Next year, we want to, be champions of Scotland again. We didn't last year, so we start all over again, and we have to make sure we have a good start, and that starts tomorrow against Livingston. So we prepared well. We are ready for the challenge we will face, and it's very important to get a good start and get the 3 points, the first 3 points of the season tomorrow.
Alison, please.
Giovanni, I know you've named your European squad. Alfredo is in it. Where is he in terms of when he'll be ready to play again?
Well, hopefully he's already training big parts of the session with us. He looks stronger every day when he joins us. So hopefully we can have him back really quick in the squad be involved. So we named him in the squad for the first ties of the competition. So Tuesday in a week. So hopefully he will get involved really soon.
And Lindsay, please.
Hi, Giovanni. Talking about the European squad, there's no Nikola Katic in that squad. What is his future with you? Are you looking to maybe find a new club for him?
Yeah, well, I spoke with, of course, Nico was on loan last season. It's always good for me to work with all the players we have on the contract. So Nico was back this season, and he's a great person. And I've spoken with Nico and last week about his future with the club, and we agreed that it would be nice for Nico to get another club and play elsewhere. So his future, for the next season will not be at Rangers. Of course, he has to find a club where he can play. We will help him with that, and hopefully he will find a new challenge elsewhere.
Well, thanks for that, Fox. Very honest. Stevie G was honest. Giovanni, cut for the same cloth. I get your point, Juicy, about some of the silly questions. But we got some scoops there. Ridvan, the postman, as he's been nicknamed, he'll be joining us on Sunday. Alfredo's close to fitness. Nico's believing the club. Some of the boys are getting fitter every day. Kemar Roof's back training on the grass. So we're only left with Hadji and maybe Phil Hollander long term. Juicy.
Yeah, this is good. We want to see those injured players getting fit in the pre-season if possible. That we knew Hadji was going to be a little bit more long term, but I don't like to see a player come back too early. You don't want to see him rushed. It takes as long as it takes. But in Alfredo's case, we know that we really need him, and we know that those last few matches in Europa League, were difficult because we had to approach them differently. Sometimes going with those false nines with Aribo, not in his natural position. Of course, now he's gone, and if there's one position where we maybe are a little bit vulnerable, is in that striker department with Roof still out and not really had much of a pre-season, and Kolak being really only the natural striker there. We know Tillman can play there as well. He hasn't had a lot of minutes yet. So Alfredo coming back or being very close is real great news for us guys. And I think probably they're targeting him to be fully fit for hopefully the second leg of that Champions League game. So he may perhaps get some minutes on Tuesday in the away game, but we can get him ready for the next leg. It gives him another week and a bit. That'd be fantastic because we know we're going to need him in those big games.
Thanks, Barry. Definitely looks rusty if you see some of the things that's making the rounds on social media. When the manager nutmegged him at training, I don't know if you've seen it, Rich.
Our manager's a good player, but he's still a good player. I think I'd like to see him in our team, and that's for sure.
Anyway. The last two managers in midfield could do a job for you, could they?
Absolutely, pal. I mean, that's a God's honest truth, God's honest truth. Look, some of your guys have been superb all through last season, particularly the tail end. Brought a lot of excitement into the club, and some of these players are still there. The vast majority of them are still there and able to play. There's some of them that we said went through some of them tail end of last season. So guys that could leave, and Katic was one of them. The chances are he won't be playing for Rangers. I don't know, but he looked all right for me. There wasn't much change. I wasn't looking for improvement because I didn't know what to expect. Anyway, he's a tidy big player, but I don't think he's Rangers quality. I really don't. So these are the things that the manager's got to have to solve, in my opinion. A lot of Rangers players are all new, and everybody's thrilled to see them. So let's get it going for tomorrow. Get it done. Just go out there and absolutely mollocate them, please. That's all I want.
Listen, Nico Katic will always be fondly remembered. If you get the winner at a certain place, Juicy, and you force them to shut the curtains, it's you're always remembered, won't you?
And I don't think any of us ever want to see any Rangers player pushed out of the club. You know, we know that Katic, in the short time that he's actually been, he only really had that one full season, really, didn't he, before he got injured. He was a good player. Okay, he might lack in certain departments. He might be the best in terms of playing it out, and I think that's where we're trying to focus our efforts a bit more now in playing that football out of defence. With players that are a little bit silkier on the ball, like a Suter. But he did well at a time when we needed him to, and his ball winning was still very good, and will probably still be good now. But I guess it's just that more complete package that Gio and previously Stevie were looking for. And remember, guys, our centre-back position, we are stacked now, aren't we? And in terms of players, and we know that Hollander still got to come back from injury, and we're doubting whether or not there's going to be a place for him. We know there isn't going to be a place for Simpson either. So there's got to be some movement somewhere. But he did well for us. He'll always be remembered for that season, and obviously, like you said, a goal at the Chamber of Secrets is always very, very welcome.
Yes, here. Aye, all right. A lot of positive, obviously. Young Rabbies, I don't think he's not going to be involved tomorrow. He'll be joining up or coming and doing some boss training and getting information about Tuesday's game. Good feature. So I would suggest that the team will have Scott Wright up front, Cholak through the middle, Kent on the left, and the decision, I think, the big decision will be who you play in the number 10 role, Josie.
Yeah, I mean, it could well be Lawrence. I think he's perhaps had the most game time for us in that position in pre-season, probably. But he could go with tried and tested. He could go with Arfield. Arfield's individual record against Livy is decent. Of course, Tillman as well, who hasn't had a lot of minutes yet for us. Is he going to risk too many new guys in their debut for an away game like this? Who knows? I don't think, when you look at the squad that we've got now, whatever he goes with tomorrow, I wouldn't really consider any version of it to be a weak team, really. There'll be an element of tried and tested, but he's got new options if he needs them. We've got half a dozen new players that will be ready to go tomorrow, with Yilmaz still to come in as well. So if he needs to change it up, he will do. And remember, the big advantage for us this season, guys, is having those 5 substitutes. That really allows us to change things. If there's any issues in the game, or we just want to rest players, we can make those 5 subs. And it's going to keep the squad happier as well, because more players will get more game time.
Yeah, good point, mate. Good point. Right, okay. If it's all right with you two gentlemen, and I say that loosely when Bridge is about, we'll get the phone lines open.
Go for it.
Let's hear from East.
Why don't you give us a call on 0141 356 1972. It's your show. It's your platform. Let's hear from you.
Come and join us, phone in. As a phone-in show, but great to hear from you. Here's your thoughts on the team tomorrow. So I'm going to put you on the spot, Juicy. Bridgeman can have a bit of time to think.
Oh, my goodness.
Who's your starting 11?
Can't we go age before beauty here? Okay. I think
you'd win on both sides. Yeah,
you'd win on both counts.
We'll go McLaughlin in goal, because I think he'll probably have McGregor for the European match. He'll go Tav, Goldson, Suter, Barisic as the back 4. And then I think he'll go Kamara, Arfield, and then Lundstrom. And then up front we'll have Kent, Kolak and Wright. Because remember, we know Matondo is out for this weekend. So I think the forward line pretty much takes care of itself. I think the positions that you could possibly debate are whether or not it would be Arfield or Lawrence in that number 10 spot. And I think Jack, as we were saying before the show started, we think Jack will probably be saved for the European game as well.
I don't think you'll be far away with that. What were you thinking, Bridge?
Apart from the goalkeeper, I thought he would. I think he'll play McGregor, personally speaking. But other than that, there's nothing wrong with the team. It's a good team, and there's others sitting in the wings ready to pile in if necessary. You know, a good team. I'll agree with that. But as I say, with the exception of the goalkeepers, I do think he'll play McGregor.
All right. I don't think you're also alone in that thinking, Bridge. Some people think he'll play him because he played the 2 big games last week. So we'll see. Interesting. I think the big debate will who'll start behind Cholak, Arfield or Lawrence. If we're talking about what happened in pre-season, I think Tom Lawrence starts. But tried and tested is Scotty Arfield.
Yeah, for me anyway. For me. Yeah.
Aye. Sorry, Bridge. Carry on, mate.
Look, remember, he's got the 5 subs, hasn't he, Bridge? So whichever one he goes with, he can change it up if he needs to.
Oh, absolutely. That's what we're saying there. Look, there's loads of good stuff. 2 teams, basically, we've got and available to him. And he can mix and match whatever he wants. And the guys that are sitting on the bench can pile in and do what they need to do to win the game. All I care about, and I'm not being funny when I say this, forgive me, I only want the 3 points. I'm greedy. I just want the 3 points. And if I want to be even more greedy, go out there and absolutely lace them. That's what I would say. But if I got a 1-0 for me, I'll do me fine. Get the 3 points. That's all I need.
You're right, Bridge. The league games are all about just the 3 points. You know, obviously you do like to see performances, you like to be entertained. But ultimately, if you get the 3 points and it's do or drab and all that, it's forgotten about if you get the prize at the end of the season, just.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. I mean, we had some horrendous home draws last season, 2 against Motherwell, which, you know, when you consider how poor they've been at the start of this season, already out of Europe, that one still hurts me. I've got to stop thinking about it. But if you 2 1-0 wins in there, and that's, you know, the 4 points difference that in the league back already. And, you know, there's going to be matches this season in between European games where, you know, we might have had a tough away game in Europe and we've then perhaps got to go away at the weekend and we've just got to slog it out. And they won't be the prettiest of affairs, but sometimes we've just got to get down and dirty and get the job done. I honestly believe with the substitution change this season, that will work in our favour because of the size of our squad, and that will help us coming off the European matches. And hopefully, we'll just be able to do the business. But this first month of the season, hopefully, we've got these 2 qualifiers to get through, and then the next round. We just got to focus on this month and get through, because if we do that, we've got the big bounty to play with. Who knows what else we could still do in the transfer market if we need to. Hopefully he's happy with what we've got. We've got to see how everyone works out.
So but none of us, Tillman will start tomorrow. Juicy, then Bridge.
Well, Tillman, he's had the least game time, hasn't he? You know, it's only 15, 20 minutes that he's had. So I'm not disputing that he's fit, but is he going to start the guy tomorrow away to Livy on that awful pitch? What an introduction to Scottish football. That's why I'm thinking he may go with the tried and tested Arfield. And we've seen how effective Lawrence has been from the bench in pre-season. So I've got no worries with Lawrence starting. I think maybe they're just slightly ahead of Tillman. But in the cameos that Tillman has had, he's shown some nice touches. So I've got no worries with him coming in at any point. Like I said, I really don't see us having a weak side with whoever we go with. You know, that's a testament to the quality I think we've got in the squad at the moment.
Bridge?
As I was saying a minute ago, look, I think the team that we started off with, well, apart from the goalkeeper, they're a really strong team for me. And there's loads of guys in Tillman and others sitting ready on the bench. There's some players who definitely won't play from the bench even in his mind, because he wants to save them if necessary for Tuesday. They're going to need really strong team, really good team on Tuesday. But I don't want to talk too much about Tuesday at all. My mind, tomorrow. Strong team, good bench, go out there and do it. Just get the 3 points, bring it back to Ibrox and get a quilt out of us and look after each other. That's all you need.
Aye, get the game out of the way, win the game, play well. Hopefully no injuries, Juicy, and we move on.
Yeah, definitely no injuries at this stage of the season. It's as we were just saying, the treatment tables, not looking too bad now. We've just got a few more players to come back, and hopefully Hadji towards the end of the year. We don't want to be seeing anyone getting injured on that plastic pitch. Now, I still have bad memories of some of the players in the past getting hurt on these things, either here or at Rugby Park. And of course, we've got that wonderful place to look forward to this season as well, now that they're back up. But to be a bit more positive, we did well away to Livy last season. That hoodoo that we've had in the past didn't really take place last season, did it? We had 2 good wins there. So we've got to remember that Gio's worked out how to play against this side. So hopefully we can just carry that on.
Yeah, you've just got to go with the right attitude. There's a saying it's the same for both teams, but I don't know if it is, Bridge. I think if you train in that pitch and that surface constantly, you've got a slight advantage, because you're more familiar with the bounce of the ball every day when you're playing on it, Bridge.
Yeah, absolutely. They know this. They know what like it is in certain patches. All players know that. Try their best not to go into that area. It's bad. They know that, and they've got that. Obviously, they've got a slight advantage. It's sure. They've got a big advantage. So is Kelly, if we look at it that way too. So the plastic pitches are not the greatest pitches for the normal footballer who likes to play a bit of silky football on the pitch. But it does suit these teams. They build their game on it. They've got the coaches that will do that, and we've come up against them and sort of came a cropper a couple of times on these plastic pitches. I don't want it to happen to us, but to be very careful, and obviously the manager will play the right team to get tore in and do the business.
Yeah. Right, come and give us your thoughts tomorrow in 0141 356 1972. Phone in, speak to the receptionist, and we will contact you back. It is a phone-in show, and we need your input, or the show doesn't work. That's fair, Juicy, isn't it?
Oh, it's all about the fans. We're here doing our job, but it's all about what the punters think. And I know we're only just getting started. There's a lot of matches to get through, but all kicks off tomorrow, everyone. So please let us know your thoughts.
Bridgeman, are you happy with the transfer window? Are you happy with the pre-season also? The way we stepped up in quality, Partick Thistle, Sunderland, West Ham, Spurs, there was progression,
I'm delighted. I'm absolutely delighted. I thought against West Ham, I thought we were absolutely extraordinary, Dan. Absolutely brilliant. Against Spurs, we were good, really good in patches, but Spurs overall had the far superior team, both physically and ability-wise. So that's the reason why they're sitting where they are in the English Premiership. They're a really good team, and I've got nothing but admiration for them. And we've got to step up. We've only got new players, and they've got to do the business. Maybe in another year's time, we play Spurs, it might be a different game. But we need to have stronger players, because one of the things I remember vividly from it is young Mr. Kent trying to outmuscle some of these big giant fullbacks, and their defenders. They ain't going to do it. And the referee just physically block them with their body without doing any damage. Just block them, and they can't do it, So we need to get better at that against these type of players, because some of them are smashing. So we need Rangers to be smashing and do the business. That's what I want.
Just the same question to you. Transfer window in the pre-season overall.
Well, we played good quality opposition this pre-season, didn't we? We really built up from the first game against Partick Thistle, and then of course half a game against Sunderland, Blackpool, and then into West Ham, and then into Tottenham, and every match was building up to sort of better and better levels, wasn't it? Did you hear me there?
Yeah.
Better and better levels of teams, and to finish off with the two Prem sides, the West Ham performance was very good, and as Bridge said, we competed really well against what is, I think, a top Prem side in Spurs, and probably, easily one of the top three managers in the Prem in Conte. He's right up there with Pep and Klopp. So, I think they'll have a decent season, and they've got a front three. Their movement was very good, caused us a lot of problems, but we competed well with them, and I think we need to remember that, and that sets us up well, because we won't play a team that is that good in the SPFL. We might play a team that's that good in Europe, possibly, of course, but not on a domestic level, and that's what we need to remember. That's why I like testing ourselves against those kind of teams in pre-season, because it's the test of tests, and I think we passed, and we really put in a good performance against West Ham as well. And in terms of the signings, of course, we haven't seen everyone yet. A few of those guys came in a little bit later, didn't they? In Davis, and of course, Yilmaz only arrives in Glasgow tomorrow. But we've got to remember those guys have gone through pre-seasons. Yilmaz is joining us fully fit. He's had a full pre-season with Besiktas. So it's not as if he's not going to be sharp. I expect him to be able to come in after a few training sessions if we need him. I think it's been a very successful and exciting transfer window, Oxford. I know that not every player always works out at club, but I haven't seen anything yet that concerns me. Just want to see a little bit more match time from the new guys. But we were so excited after seeing Rotondo and Lawrence's performance against West Ham. There's some excellent pace and set-up play, and he's not going to be scared, Oxford, from having shots out of the box. Something that we've been talking about on here for a couple of years now. Players from midfield not scoring off goals, not taking the ball and just having a shot, and hopefully we'll see that now with a player like Lawrence.
Yeah, I have to agree with you there, Juicy. That sounds eminently sensible. I think that's what we've been wanting for a long time. Particularly the part where when John Lundstrom scored a couple of goals for us from run up, and it's wonderful to see the same way Ryan Jack scoring some smashing goals. They're the type of goals that we want from the midfield, and somebody in there round about the 18-yard line and having a dig, and it looks fabulous when it hits it, and that's what we want. We don't have that many players capable of doing that. We used to, for instance, if you think about Barisic is one of the best left backs in Europe, and I've no doubt about it. He's got a wonderful wand of a left foot. Doesn't score enough goals for me. Although he scored the other day, and that just shows you he can do it, But really and truly, he's a bit, shall we say, a bit slow going forward in his mind to have a shot. He might be getting told by the manager, I don't know. So I don't know if he's getting let loose, but even Big Bassey didn't have enough shots for me. So whereas Tav on the other side of a shot at any time, So if you get that kind of balance, then you'll be doing very, very well. And I really look forward to Rangers doing it.
That's a really good point, Bridgeman, and I think that's hopefully the balance that he's trying to get with the introduction of Yilmaz. If we can get anything like what we have with Tav on the right in terms of assists and goals, even if it was half of what Tav gets, we're going to be very excited by that level of contribution, aren't we?
Yeah, it'll be interesting. Fox has given me his team. He's went for McLaughlin, Tavernier, Golson, Suter, Barisic, Lundstrom, and in front of him, Kent, Lawrence, Tillman, Wright, and Kolak up front. He's adventurous as our fox.
It actually does beg the question, doesn't it? Do we really need to be playing two holding players in away matches in the SPFL?
That's the point, right? He's got out to win the game, score goals, yeah?
Yeah, I've got no problem with that at all. Sometimes, and I've been critical previously in the past, do we always need to play the two holding? And we know that Kamara's been playing a little bit further forward sometimes, so it's not always necessarily two holding just because he's playing. But I don't think we need to do that against a lot of teams in this league. I would rather be a little bit more adventurous. And then, when you've got a decent league, then you can shut it down a bit.
Rich?
Yeah, look, how can you say it? There's in the Scottish Premiership, Rangers are, shall we say, Rangers sometimes trip up, and a lot of that time is because we've been trying to go forward and blah 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 and losing the ball. I prefer a wee bit more defensive prowess, and particularly in the midfield. So I like, when you're going away from home in Scotland, I like the two defensive midfielders. I know people don't really like it. I don't necessarily want it when we're playing at Ibrox, but maybe a wee bit of caution sometimes you do against for Celtic or the Aberdeens of this world. But really and truly, away from home, we need to go warily, my opinion, and I urge caution because we've slipped up a number of times and we just didn't have the players that get us back in. Then there are other times when we slipped up and we got back in and beat them, but really and truly we can't take those chances. Hence the reason why I prefer a wee bit more, shall we say, a wee bit more defensive minded midfielders.
With the argument being bridged that we've not scored enough goals and we're putting our whole team under pressure, so we've got to be more offensive.
Yes, I'm trying to say that. I understand fully that, and obviously the manager and the coaches, they'll come up with something that will do that. It's just Bridgman saying, as far as I'm concerned, away from home against anyone, we need to go with a wee bit of caution, and that caution could translate to having two defensive midfielders on the park. That's what it would amount to. Whereas just saying yourself and others may turn and say, "No, we only need the one. You only need, stick Ryan Jack. Keep Ryan Jack on the bench. Don't bother with Stephen Davis. These kind of things." I want two men in there to be able to do it. That's only my opinion.
Okay, all right, I get it, but also get where Fox is coming through, Juicy, yeah?
Yeah, I mean, look, I've got no problem at all with going attacking. We've gone the two holding in most games, and I had the two holding in my lineup, but as my father reminded me the other day, Kamara does actually and has been playing a little bit further forward in a lot of games. So it doesn't necessarily mean it's two holding just because you've got Kamara and Lundstrom playing. We don't need to sit back against a lot of these teams. Remember, we're going to be playing against teams where they've got 10 men behind the ball. So they're going to be giving up a lot of possession anyway. So we don't necessarily need to be too defensive-minded against these guys. They're not going to get that many chances against us. One or two perhaps in the game, but we need to be getting the goals. We did not score enough goals last season. And we need to remedy that this year. Hopefully we've got the forward line that can do it. I do feel we've got that goal scoring element now in the midfield, and that's going to help us a lot for sure.
All right, we've been joined by BH. Evening, BH.
Hi guys. I think one of my main things was just stolen there. I was going to say the same. We've been seeing Kamara playing further forward of late, and I'm thinking against stuffy defences we'll be playing with Kamara further forward. Lundstrom, what's his name? Lawrence in number 10, Lundstrom holding. So Gab stays in the lobby like a 4-1-4-1. I like the choices we've got this season. I love the idea that Turk coming on. Can't remember his name. I don't really. I've never rated Barisic, no.
Do you think that obviously we've spent a few quid, BH, so he's not coming out to sit on the bench, is he?
Nah, yeah, he'll be playing. I think Barisic is obviously going to be his backup, isn't it? I said he's going to hang around because he might be off. The other thing I wanted to say was a lot of people talking about, what's his name? The Alfredo. Much as I love the wee guy, especially his European stuff, he's not really doing much in the league. I mean, I can't remember how many he scored in the league after Christmas there, but...
Oh, after Christmas?
I don't think it's more than 5, has it?
I'll check it. If you give me 2 minutes, I'll check it out. He's never been prolific in the league, let's be honest, yeah.
Well, he'd one good league.
You know, I'll give you his exact stats, and if you give me 2 minutes, you said that I think we're a better team when Bareilles plays personally, but I think Cholak could make it hard for him if he scores goals, yeah?
Yeah, absolutely. And we know that we need someone who is prolific in that Boyd, McCoist type poaching role, don't we? And I think off the top of my head, Alfredo's best in the league was something like 17 in a season. In that season where he scored around 29 before Christmas, remember? But he's still not an out-and-out striker, in my opinion. You know, we value him for his ability to hold up the ball and bring other players in, just as much as his goal contribution. And I think he has scored some great goals for us, but particularly in Europe. And I think you're right, Blue Horizon. We need to see a bit more from him on the domestic front, and hopefully we'll see that now. He looks trim in this pre-season. He kept himself, in good shape through the injury, which is great to see. Hopefully he doesn't miss too many matches. I've got a good feeling that he will be playing in the month of August for us, so that's great. And hopefully he's going to get really good service from the players that we've got in the forward line. So, you've got Kent, Matondo. Lawrence's set-up play looked really good against West Ham. And, you think if all of those guys are feeding the ball to him, he's going to love it. And so will Kolak. Ultimately, I don't really care who scores the goals. I mean, if the striker is quiet, but it's the midfield scoring, that's fine. Where the pressure the pressure's on the strikers when suddenly they're not getting goals from other departments, and then it becomes a lot more noticeable, doesn't it? But those goals are spread through the team. I'm fine with that, Oxja.
Here we go. There's Alfredo's stats. Just league. We're talking about the league here, nothing else, yeah? 14, 18, 12, 12 and 12. So 68 league goals and 125 appearances, 21 substitute appearances. What were you wanting, BH, after Christmas? Were you wanting?
Well, I think the numbers could speak for themselves, didn't they? Rather than kind of nail it down after Christmas. It wasn't great. But I think a lot of that was to do with what was going on in his head, because there's loads of games that kept falling back to it in the midfield. And you're like, what are you playing this for? We need you up the pitch. There's loads of people phoning and complaining about that. And then it got to the bit where, he played quite well because he held the ball up and others come into the game. But ultimately, we weren't scoring a lot of goals. So, looking at this team, the way that we saw the pressurising, they look like they're going to score a lot of goals. The Turkish guy I know nothing about, so I can't really say anything about him. If he brings goals, then we're laughing. Because I think we could romp this league, never mind win it. I also think, going back to, see me think about Walter Smith's teams and Big Jock Wallace's pickings and that. We always saw like a 4-4-2, and folk were always quick to say, we don't play 4-4-2. 4-4-2 can still work. And it can work with our team pretty well, especially with that Turkish guy, if we play for that is. Say against better teams. You can have the Turk, the guy Suter on the right, you can have Goldson, you can have Davies, Vela as well, and Tabs. So you're playing like C at the back. I've said forward right enough, but say C at the back, your two wing backs. You can have your C in the middle, and you can still play with two up front. You can still have four at the back, and your four in the middle and two up front, because you can play Kolak with Morelos, because they've got any two guys like Lawrence and Lundstrom, Lawrence Kamara, as long as Lawrence is on the right enough, concedes the attacking mid. If Lawrence plays, they can play with 4-4-2. Simply because your two midfielders are good enough then. So Lawrence is going to make you your goals, and one of them can help with defence. No,
sometimes
that is always the case. Sorry.
Some football, I just think that some things are fashionable. You know, like passing the ball in your 6-yard box. You know,
Well, I hate that.
It becomes. But it'd be interesting. I think that we're putting a lot of weight on Tom Lawrence here, Bridgeman. We're expecting a lot from him. Obviously, he's a seasoned pro, 28. Was Derby captain. Played a lot of games in the Championship. Scored a few goals. He's been on to take a mean set piece. So let's hope he can deliver.
Yeah, absolutely. And I have to say, it shouldn't take that long for the other players on the pitch to start trusting him and what he says, what he does. If he's been the Derby captain, then he's got that experience, and people do tend to sort of go for someone that's got a bit of something in him, you know, and lean on him, and that's what we're looking for. And I thought he's been brilliant up to now, really, really good, very clever in his thoughts. Maybe one or two moves ahead of some of our players, but if we can get him to get gelled in there, by goodness gracious, there's not very many teams that are going to stand up to us when we're playing with players like that, and that's for sure. Well, a really good player. Welcome to Rangers.
Just say the thing about Tom Lawrence, he'll not be missed about. He's got a wee bit of streak in him, hasn't he?
Well, yeah, and I remember a few years ago we saw that when Derby had a pre-season game against Rangers at Ibrox, and he was getting in Tab's face. I remember that very well. And now in one of life's little ironies, he's now in our team. But I like that. You want to see people who step up, and you want to see people who, you know, potentially a future captain of a club. You know, he's already captained Derby, and, you know, I hope he's with us for the long haul. You know, he's still a young player, and hopefully he can do well. But going back to the point there about the 4-4-2, I think a sexier version of that is, of course, 3-5-2, isn't it? And I think that is a setup that we can have now, depending on which defenders we play. If we go with Davis, Suter, Goldson, we can then play three at the back and have more of an attacking threat up front, with depending on whatever we choose to go with. It might be where Kent has to sit out there, but we can then have five in the midfield. We can have two wing backs and the three at the back, allowing for two forward players. And that is allowed by the defence that we've got now. You know, I think you'd have to have Suter in the middle of that three, probably, and then Davis on the left. But I think that would work for us, guys. And against certain teams in the league, as Fox had with his team earlier, not having the two holding players, I think we need to be doing that. We need to be going for the jugular more in these matches. Now, I know there's going to be some tight games, as I said earlier, and after Europe, in midweek, we might just need to go into games and get the job done. But I think the squad is big enough now that we can continue playing at the high pace and use those subs, the 5 subs. I know I said it earlier, but we've got to keep going back to that point. We can change it up now much more than we could last season, and that's going to be really good. And unfortunately, that will benefit them on the other side of the city as well. But the two clubs with the big squads will see the benefit of being able to use their whole squad. I think coming off Europe, that's important for us.
I also think it benefits the kickers, because if you go out and you get 4 players booked at half time, you can sub them, still have a sub left, and you'll get nobody on a yellow card.
Well, just about every team we play are hammer throwers, aren't they? So that's a very good point. If they've got someone who's on perhaps a final warning going into half time or in the latter stages of the game, they can disrupt the play, bring on another hammer thrower. I don't know for sure, but I think that it's still going to be 5 subs over 3 stoppages. So as it was 2 seasons ago. So you won't be able to slow down the match any more than by just having 3 stoppages. So a team will either be able to bring on 2 players at once or 3 players, but you won't be able to stop it 5 times. because that really would play against us then with certain teams wasting
the game when
the clock.
The game when they start. I think nobody said Ben Davis starting tomorrow. BH, you don't think he'll start neither, no?
Oh, I would love to think he could start tomorrow. I've got no idea as to how his fitness is. Have you heard anything? Is he fit to play or what?
No, he just played. He played the game.